bring up the decks that we'll be looking at for our second game of the day, which is my dear teammate CalumSLZ, and he's going to be playing Mentol, who I believe are both currently undefeated in their group. I think so. Top of the table clash.
One of them's got to lose that honor.
One of them does, yeah. Obviously, I am hoping it will be Mentol, because as much as I'll try to be unbiased, I've got to support my usual co-commentator, CalumSLZ. But yeah, let's have a bit of a look at the decks that are going to be played today. As I just bring them up from the document I have in front of me. And I'm going to put them in the comparison. So we're going to look at CalumSLZ's decks first. Or the good doctor, as he is known to our viewers. Oh, wait, no, let me clear that. Do I want to do all of the decks? It's a scintillating viewing here as you watch me repeatedly click things on decks of Keyforge. So big shout out to decks of Keyforge, the compare function. Massive fan of it. Super useful. I did not put a link to this last deck, so I'll just type it in. And there it is. Okay, so let's look at Calum's decks first. So we have Logan, the Dubious, Randolph, der giftige Hammer, and Ulslang, Spawn of Sulfurlo. And Randolph, I believe the translation is Randolph, the Poison Hammer.
Oh, good to know.
It's a good name, isn't it? Like, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, as I say, so the first deck we'll look at is Logan the Dubious, which is...
Yeah, I've played against Calum a few times when he was testing his Triad lineup before the KFPL kicked off, and I normally banned this one. It feels like a very frightening deck. The other ones, all these decks are very fast. But I think Logan, when you look at the stats, it is hard to overlook that 33 expected amber with a speed of 11.
Indeed it is, yeah. With like mutagenic four mutagenic serums is just a brutal amount of the meteor very often, with also nine mutants in a 13 creature deck, means that you're most of the time just gonna be able to use all of your creatures every turn.
Yeah, those serums do a lot of work.
And you also have a Dark Ember Vault too as well. So just the speed of 11, I think maybe it's slightly disingenuous because you have so many artifacts in this deck. With 9 artifacts means that you tend to have just a lot of things on the board. So you just cycle your deck so quickly.
Yeah, if you can shuffle before you've sacked any of the serums, then what you're shuffling is 9 cards lighter. And most of those are going to draw you more cards. Like, it's just very useful stuff.
It is entirely, yeah. And just a lot of like really useful kind of ones as well. So you've got like Tempting Offers, which are really good to deal with kind of like your big Saurian boards. Like, you know, if someone's just tributes but hasn't 6-empered yet, then Tempting Offers a great one to use on that. Also Mugs as well too for that is just really good for kind of knocking off Ember off of things.
Yeah, Mug's very nice. Mug deals with a lot of stuff actually. I really like Mug. It's a very useful card.
And I mean, you also have, which is something that Calum often is lamented a lack of, a nice amount of board clear too, stuff like standardized testings, gleeful mayhems, dances of doom, kind of all more situational stuff. Nothing that can like straight up just say everything dead, please. But
yeah, nothing that technically counts as a board wipe, but a lot of stuff that means you can get rid of the creatures you want to get rid of.
Exactly, yeah. And also like a very nice kind of master theory too, where if someone does have a board, you can at least take advantage of that and get some nice archiving for yourself too.
Yeah, and that standardized testing with the DAV often means that your low power stuff isn't as low power, which means you're just taking their stuff out.
Entirely. Nice. But yeah, it's a fast deck. I think it hasn't been banned twice thus far as well, so it is a popular ban. But we'll look at the second deck, which is Randolph the Poison Hammer. And this is a deck that Calum actually qualified for the Keyforge Premier League with. It was in the Valentine's Day Valentine's Day tournament, which we were actually partners in as well.
Yes. And we took turns letting the team down.
We did indeed, yeah.
So that's good. It was no one's fault.
No, it was both our faults, and that's fine. But yeah, this is a deck with 24 speed.
Yeah, I've lost to this deck a lot. It goes so fast that you can play quite clever decks against it, and you just don't get time to set up what you want to do. And this deck doesn't really care about what you're doing that much. It just goes very quickly. That's basically what it does.
Yeah, it just kind of goes like, oh, you're trying to do stuff? No, I don't really care. Just I'm going to fog back you, stealth mode you, try and do stuff.
Yeah, I'm playing Ghost Hawk in between 2 Kirby's, and then I'm doing whatever I want for the rest of the turn.
Yeah, or I'm going to crash Muldoon and use this other stuff with it. Also got Pan Packet Anger, so everything looks a bit small, suddenly big.
Yeah, it's weak. I'd say its only flaw is that while it builds up a board of a lot of creatures, they're very small creatures.
They are.
What is the biggest creature? Panpacker. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a 21 creature deck with only 66 effective board. Things are a bit awry. But yeah,
double Ghost Hawk, key charge. Nature's cool, so you can Ghost Hawk again if you need to. Yeah. Which with 21 creatures, you're often going to have that option.
Nature's Call, both Comos or Kirby's, is something I've seen him do multiple times and lamented it every time too. It's been like, why? Why is this allowed? Stop it.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice deck. Probably won't ever get banned, I wouldn't have thought. It's the lower on the SAS, lower on the stats, no artifact control. Probably doesn't look as nice as the other two.
No, but I think
goes just as well.
Yeah, this is the kind of deck that I always say is a kind of puncher's deck, in that if this gets to draw, there's a lot of decks that just can't do anything against this kind of deck.
Yeah.
You're just going to be seeing it, just drawing so many cards, doing so much stuff, stopping you quite a lot of the time as well. Like, with Stealth Modes and Fog Banks, you may have small creatures, but if your opponent can't fight them a lot of the time, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It tends to be the only times I really beat this deck is where I've managed to kind of like disrupt his disruption first, and slow it down sufficiently where he's not quite been able to get everything out. But definitely a very fast deck, very, very good at just kind of like punching its way through.
Yeah, and it's just so useful for the Triad because you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to play it.
Yeah, I think its biggest issue is that it's only got 2.8 Ember control, and it's not great Ember control at that either. It's kind of
such a low number. Yeah, it's really not great. Cutthroat Research doesn't really count as Ember control most of the time.
No, it doesn't. So I think the thing with this deck is it's very much just, if this is going past turn 7 or 8, and this deck hasn't already won, it's probably not going to win.
Yeah, I would say so.
And finally, we have All Slang Spawn of Sulfurlo, which is a Kota deck.
Yeah, it's the kind of Kota deck you just hate playing against. It's
going
to just keep putting your own stuff back in your hand. It's going to remove your Amber, and it's going to draw a lot of its own cards and go pretty fast again.
Yeah, it's got stuff like you've got your Battle Fleet, which we saw in the first game can do some real damage. Shatterstorm too, to say like, oh, this person's getting a bit too much Ember, let's put a stop on that.
Especially if you're a key ahead. Shatterstorm, a bit like Effervescent Principle, is just one of those cards that you just want to be playing from a leading position.
Exactly, yeah. You also got a very nice library access too with a Time Traveler, which is always very good. Something that I'm always a fan of doing, especially if I've got a library access, is playing a Time Traveler, killing it with something like a Twin Bolt or a Positron Bolt, and then using the Help from Future Self to bring it back.
And if you hit that can basically win you the game, because you've probably got almost your entire deck in your hands after that game. You've got all your Logger stuff down on the board.
Yeah, and you've probably at that point got enough Mars in hand where you can Battle Fleet for even more cards too.
Yeah, and just draw all the Loggers back out. Why not?
Yeah. It's got a Rise with all of that dis as well. So I think that's the good thing about this deck. Just great ways of getting kind of like massive turns with any house. You know. I think the only thing is though that I think it's a difficult deck to play because it's the kind of thing where you've got so many cards that you want to wait to play. You know, you want to wait to play the Library Access till it's right. You want to wait to play the Battle Fleet till it's right. You want to wait to play the Arise until it's right.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to get some games where you just get all the stuff you want late, early, and it's just like,
Yeah, I mean, if you mulligan and then you draw into a Library Access Battlefleet Arise hand, then
Yeah.
like, you know, is there any point carrying on?
Yeah, you just want to like put your head in your hands and sob gently until the pain goes away. But yeah, but I think especially if you kind of get a good line on this and you can kind of like play around that, it's got just really good tools to kind of deal with a lot of problems that are in the current meta as well. So you've got stuff like Guilty Hearts, really good for dealing with like kind of big Saurian. Hysteria, really good for dealing with those like Curia decks that you're seeing a lot too. You know.
Well, we're seeing a lot Curia decks, aren't we?
Yeah, we definitely are. We're big fans of the Curia decks. And yeah, like kind of Shatterstorm as well, just great for any kind of decks that have got big, kind of like big Ember generation, kind of really good at just knocking that back and saying, no, bad, stop it.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, let's have a look at his opponent Mentol's decks, which are also Fizz.
Yeah, and we saw these last Beach Ball on commentary was Mentol v Tuck.
It was indeed,
which
yeah.
Mentol took out 2-0 and played very well, used the decks very well. They are very nice decks. Bertrand, I really like. It's just got so much stuff going on.
It really does, yeah. Not really my kind of deck at all. I'm not a big kind of Untamed player just generally, to be honest. It's not really my vibe, but even I've got to respect a deck with 3 helper bots and 4 running risk clocks. Just the brutality of that is quite a sight
it's
to
tough.
see.
It's a tough deck to play, and it's going to recur so much stuff. That Archimedes does a lot of work, and if it gets going, it's very hard to stop it.
Yeah, and it's kind of thing where like having health bots means that you can play stuff like a Dusk Witch out of house, which just makes that way better because you're not kind of like having to kind of hold it for an untamed turn.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the big thing is kind of similar to what we were saying when we were talking about the hammer, is just small creatures across the board.
Yeah, nothing but, I mean, it's even the power of 43 is one of the lowest I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then considering it's got 19 creatures, which isn't a ludicrously low number of creatures, there's so many 1 power and 2 power creatures in this deck.
Exactly. You've got to think anything with kind of like even like a dark wave or something could decimate this deck. Well, not even decimate, because decimate would suggest it would only killing 2 creatures. It would just annihilate this deck because
essentially a board wipe.
Exactly.
But just like the hammer probably doesn't matter too much. And also if they're wiping the board but you got the Archimedes out, at least 2 of your things are going into the archive, and they're probably going to be helper bots or Ronnies that are going in the archive.
Yeah, I've got to think maybe not the best matchup with the hammer, because it does have that Soldiers to Flowers, which I think we'd be trying to use to pull off something like a Chota Hazri, and obviously with kind of both playing Untamed, hard to use a Soldiers to Flowers, but I've got to think that game is going to be so quick, played by both players, that maybe that wouldn't really matter.
Yeah, it's incredibly easy to forget that Soldier to Flowers does it to both decks. Easy misplay to make. Accidentally give your opponent 4 amber when you don't want to.
Exactly. And we have the Agent of Ratcot is the second deck. It's a deck that I helped kind of practice with a bit, and I found this incredibly difficult to play, to be honest. Like it's one of these, so it's an interesting deck where you look at the combos and you think it's gonna really obviously got 6 Emperor Tyrannosaurus, Tribute again. Woo!
We're not done talking about that combo.
Never going to be done talking about that. But it's with only a speed of 4.7. I found that I was kind of waiting for a lot of things too often, which I think maybe was my play and maybe was kind of a problem for me. But yeah,
I think with this deck, you're just hoping you can always be pushing the key cost up a bit, and then hoping you're going to draw into a way to punish that. So whether it's too much protect, whether it's Brand and a way to kill it, whether it's 6 Emperor and Tribute, you're just hoping, I think, that either some more key cost increase is going to come up, or a way of punishing that piled up amber on the other side.
Yeah, and some good ways of killing Brand. Nothing in the shadows, unfortunately, but you've got stuff like a Phalanx Strike can be used to kill Brand. I've seen that many a time. You've got an Entropic Swirl is a decent one too. So kind of good ways of kind of like killing a Brand and getting a bit of benefit for yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got to think the speed of 4.7 definitely is a bit of a risk of this deck being getting a bit gummed up. It's also, the speed's quite circumstantial as well. So it's stuff like Titan Guardians, you don't necessarily get those two cards. Sanitation Engineers, you're kind of having to discard to get that card. And when it is so combo heavy, often not wanting to do that as much.
Yeah, the Sanitation Engineers are a card I never managed to get that much use out of.
I think it depends on the deck. I think if weirdly Sanitation Engineer, the faster the deck, I'd say the better Sanitation Engineer is. I think if you're a lower speed deck, it's much worse because you tend to want to hold on to cards a lot more, and the cards become a lot more vital.
Yeah, it's not. We saw this one win when we watched it, and the Phalanx Strike into the Brand was probably the play of the game.
Yeah, that was
Very
pretty
nice.
crucial. And yeah, and I think like some good ways of getting like a lot of Ember off that 6 Ember 2 with stuff like kind of like your Auto Axe, your Golden Spirals, your Chant of Hubris just to move some stuff around a bit, and obviously the Tribute.
Yeah, and often a card like Too Much to Protect, just the threat of it being there is enough to make the other person think twice about bursting. And the Calum's decks are all pretty bursty.
Yeah.
And there's a point where you just have to think before you burst. If I burst now and they are holding Too Much to Protect, does it lose me the game? And if the answer is yes, you just can't burst.
Yeah.
And the threat of it can be often more punishing than it actually getting played.
Yeah, the universal key lock as well really helps with that too, where you can just kind of like put it. And I suppose with this deck is as well, maybe that's when why I wasn't playing it super well, is that you can just slow it down and just say, right, look, I'm gonna wait for you to use that universal key lock. I'm gonna build my own Ember. Then once you do that, then I'm gonna punish you for doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And you got Retigalum in Saurian to put the cost up as well.
You do indeed. So third and finally, we have Shan, Matriarch du Rocher Malin. And
yeah, this was the ban in the last game, and I can see why. It's got Eaton's Jar and it's got Borrow, and that is gonna just be a problem for a lot of decks.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Unless you've got artifact control to deal with that Eaton's Jar, there's so many decks that kind of have multiples, have kind of like 3, even 4 of a certain card, and especially at high level play where having those multiples gives you reliability. The Eaton's Jar is crippling for those kind of decks.
If you look at Callum's decks, Logan has got 4 mutagenic serums, and we were talking about how important they are. Yeah. So that deck probably just falls apart. If the Eaton's Jar comes out early, bans mutagenic serum, that's probably done. The hammer, nothing you're that worried about. I think not in the same way as the serums. Obviously, there's stuff that's annoying, but it's not going to be, not being able to play the Kirby's or the Ghost Hawks is probably going to be quite annoying. And then the All Slang, probably the Hysterias maybe you'd go for there, but again, it's not going to be as annoying. But that does hurt all of those decks, so it's good chance we're going to see this one get banned, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, you've also I've got a deck that plays quite similar to this, but is much worse, sadly. No, it's still good. I still love Emperor. He's a very good deck, but this one is definitely better, and it also has the Ultra Gravitron. And Ultra Gravitron in this kind of matchup can be very good too, because you can kind of you get that big archive, so you can either use Gravitron's ability, which is really nice, or you can just kind of get yourself 5 cards for later, which is always very good, especially with like triple Bonithing to just pulling through your deck and getting a whole those ready for later on, where you just want to get 3 lots of 2 steel, or you want to use your Infernuses and hold them. It's so good.
Yeah, this Shadow's Suite is absolutely horrible, actually, isn't it? You've got 3 Bonithings, Rad Penny, Old Bruno, Shoulder look over there. Everything is stealing something. Mastermindy is stealing. It's just a brutal set of 12 cards.
And the Borrow, just to cap it all off, where you're just like, oh, okay, it looks like a really nice artifact. Be a shame if anything happened to it. Yoink.
I would, whatever your tried lineup is, I think you're probably looking at this getting banned, surely.
Yeah, I think most people will be doing that, definitely. So if we think that Shan is being banned for Mentol, what do we think is being banned by Mentol?
I do normally ban Logan and then lose to one of the other two anyway, but like it's just hard to see past it. If the Ambivort comes down early and you've got no response to it, you're probably losing the game. And it's hard to take that sort of risk. The others obviously also go very fast.
They do, yeah.
But yeah, there's something about, I think Dav is just such a nightmare to deal with.
It really is, yeah. I think especially if you're Mentol and you've got to be assuming that Calum is going to ban Shan, you've got to then.
Yeah, without Shan, you don't have an answer to Logan, I would say.
No.
Because Shan is just an answer to Logan in a deck. It's got the Borrow to take away the Dav, and it's got the Eaton's Jar to stop you playing the Mutagenic Serums.
It does indeed.
So you can't let Calum play Logan if you're not playing Shan, I would say. Could ban. I mean, you're sort of happy banning any of the three of Calum's, I would say, but like I say, I always go Logan.
Yeah, I think I didn't agree with that, Logan. So final question. I believe the bans are happening as we speak. Who do you think's going to win this matchup?
Well, I feel bad because last time I bet against Mentol, and then Mentol won. So, and I know you're going to say Calum's going to win, so I feel like just to have an
Oh no, I think Calum's going to lose horribly. I think he's a terrible player. He's terrible at key force.
So yeah, I'll go with Mentol. I just like Bertrand so much. I just want to see it win again.
No, I'm going to obviously go with my boy, with Calum. Gonna say that I think as well. The thing with Calum's decks is that these are kind of decks that can pull a win out of nowhere. Like I would, even though it's 76 sass and number low deck bad, I'd say like Randolph is the kind of deck that can just pull out a win against any deck if it gets the right draws.
Yeah, I completely agree. They're all so quick that they can, like I said earlier, they win before you've got your game plan even starting to get underway. The Hammer will often just be 2 keys ahead, and you're wondering what has happened in the game yet because you're only 4 turns in. Like, it's crazy how fast it goes.
It is, yeah, exactly. And like stuff like Key Charge as well can just kind of finish you off completely. And it's just so many targets that you just need to remove. You've got stuff like Babbling Bibliophiles, you've got the Kirby's, you've got the Spears. You've got stuff like even Frayne that you don't want to really keep around, like Information Officer Grey too. All these different things that you just got to get rid of. That you just not many people have enough removal to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go with Mentol. I think I agree with you that Calum's decks probably do have the edge, but I think maybe we're just saying that because we know them a bit better and we've lost to them both quite a lot.
Yeah, I've lost to them both quite a bit.
I do like the way that Bertrand and Ratcott, assuming those are the two that are being played, I like the way they both play. They're both similar to decks that I've got and decks that I enjoy playing.
So the game...
And you can see as well with Ratcott, it's got, that 10-1 record in Chainbound, which is a pretty good indicator that Mentol is quite handy with it.
Indeed, it is. So we got the game is being created now. I'll just message you the password again. And the decks have been selected. And we are going to see Bertrand on the top of the screen being played by Mentol. And interestingly, Logan has not been banned.
Ooh, that is interesting. So what did get banned?
I'm just going to ask now. But yeah. So just let me know we're good to go. Yeah, dude querying if he bans the hammer. Gotta think maybe hammer is a scary deck. I think all three of Calum's. I think all the decks that I've looked at in the KFPL.
It's very hard to decide which Calum's to ban because the archetype is fairly similar when you look at them.
Exactly, and I think definitely with the school of thought of kind of like bring three decks that are the same, and then they have to ban. The ban doesn't really matter because they all do the same thing. Oh, Dark Ember Bolt straight off the bat.
Oh, that is basically the ideal opening turn.
Yeah.
And am I right in thinking there's no artifact control in
checking as well? I don't think there is, no, but we are going to see Miasma here. A Subtle Maul into Scarce Throwing Star, just want to get through his deck, but we're going to see Munchling draws a card.
You've got to think that
draws a card.
The odds are very much in Callum's favour now.
Quixo the Adventurer doesn't draw a card. But he's still a good boy. Yeah, you've got to think Callum very happy of seeing that in his opening. Pretty chuffed.
Did he mulligan, or was that did he just have it?
And I have confirmation that Old Slang and Shan were the decks that were banned in the end.
Yeah, makes sense. Both of those make sense. Yeah.
Indeed.
I
Yeah.
suppose all slang. If you think you're running that tribute deck, you don't want two Hysterias knocking around.
You definitely don't. That's very true. And here we can see Logos plays a mutagenic serum. No, and another mutagenic serum from the bot Booked and Reap. And I've got to think here we're going to see a couple of fights into that Dusk Witch
is going right.
Yeah. But of course, with that capture, it was going to be taken from the common pool because of the Pose Pixies there. So not the ideal one to hit from that bot Booked.
Giving Mentol and Amber at some
point. You
are
indeed. And he's going to go for the shadows here. Sucker Punch. Unfortunately, nothing 2 power here to be able to hit to kind of get the recursion on the Sucker Punch, but I think maybe just do there's Nourishing Munchling. I would have thought maybe go for the Quixo to be able to take that out later, but Ronnie Wristlock's going to steal one and discards the Soul Keeper from Callum Sound. I gotta think Callum not too upset about that. Really,
I wouldn't have thought so.
And
the other deck, Bertrand, isn't a deck where you're caring too much about what the most powerful creature is.
Not at all. I'm going to see shadows from Callum here. Subtle Otto draws a card.
Discards the
Nerve Blast. Going to be happy to get rid of that.
And Subtle Otto becomes an absolutely brutal card when you've got a Dav, doesn't it?
It really
draws
does.
you a card, discards them a card, and it's a 3 power creature on the board.
Plays the Master Plan. And what else does he have here? Plays a Tempting Offer, maybe returning the Pose Pixies.
Yeah, that makes sense. Out of the 2 of those cards, that makes a lot of sense.
Eugenic Serum is going to get a bit of a fight going on with the and then probably Reaps with the Quixo. Maybe discard something from hand to get an Ember from that Munchling. Oh, finishing blow to destroy it and steal, and then plays a Tempting Offer. The Ember gets himself on check, so Mentol is going to get first blood here, but Callum getting himself to check too. Got to be worried about a Ronnie Wristlocks here though, but no, going into Untamed. Got to think he doesn't have that Ronnie then.
Yeah, and then with so many of them in the deck, it's an unusual.
Yeah, Pose Pixies coming
full moon into
back
Pose,
down.
so probably wasn't too unhappy with Pose coming back into hand there.
No, Niche probably going to return that Subtle Otto and that Quixo, maybe just the Quixo.
Do you return the Otto? Bit brutal, isn't it?
It's a difficult one.
Another draw, you're discarding another card.
Yeah.
But you do get an Ember back.
You do. I think it'll depend if he's going to go to check or he's going to have enough Ember
to
use that.
Yeah, if it puts you to check, you definitely do it.
Yeah, or if he's going to get you enough to use that Choto Hands Ring and get you your second key.
So you would get 2 Ember from returning the creatures and 1 more from playing Pose again.
Yeah, exactly.
So you only need 1 more somewhere to be in check.
Mm-hmm. But having a bit of a think about it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
He's going to return all 3 creatures.
It's not an easy choice. That is, you are giving them a useful tool.
You are, yeah. And Song of Spring going to get him to check.
And that was probably what made the decision.
Returns Choto Hands-Free to the deck.
Yeah, perfect. Very nice.
So here we go.
1 kill.
Yep. Kind of go for Logos here though. Standardized testing discards the standardized testing. To plays the dominant
another way of doing it, so it doesn't really matter. Adaptoids drawing 3 cards
in total with that Dav.
Absolutely ridiculous.
That is insanity.
That is one of those cards that if it wasn't photo verified, you'd assume it was a lie.
Yeah. And he's playing the Quixo the Adventurer too. But Mentol is going to get a second key here.
Mentol gets the second forge. This is fast.
Yeah, and there's a Ronnie Wristlock's coming out. And another. And discards a Tempting Offer at random. Life for a Life.
Probably wasn't going to play the Tempting Offer anytime soon anyway. But
probably not. But it's a shame when that Adaptor though. Very good at getting some really big steals off. Because there's a lot of Ember, there's a lot of pips in the deck that you can take advantage of that. And with a Dominated Warble and a Mugenic Serum, very likely to be able to use it.
Yeah, you can basically always use it. Not looking good for Callum, despite the dream start of the Dav coming down straight away.
Here we see Quixo the Adventurer going to be used to fight. Draws a card. And plays a
Gonna
history
build a
cog.
bit of a
Draws a
board
card.
now, I expect. There's a
I
fair
think
few
so.
discards coming down.
Discards Dance of Doom. Plays the
Ooh,
Infernus. Oh, very nice there then. Okay,
what are
gonna
we
be able
hitting
to.
here? Do you think Nature's Call?
I think yeah, Nature's Call. I said Life
Miasma,
for a
probably?
Life. I could see as
Yeah.
well. No, Miasma and Nature's Call. You were
Nature's
correct.
Call, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he'd be able to build more of a board there. I feel like we haven't seen
No,
lots of this.
you've not. No,
Maybe not quite getting the draws off the Dav
I think
they would
not.
like.
Also, I suppose not that many creatures in the deck though. Really, is the thing. You know, we have seen how many? What 1, 2, only 3, 4 mutants now. So 4. I think 4 more in the deck. So yeah, maybe not getting the best of draws here. We obviously shadows coming down. Oh, Mentol maybe misclick there. Meant to click a different house. And Callum allowing him to rectify that.
Yeah, it didn't seem
Untamed.
like much of a gap between choosing the house and realizing these two.
From Callum. But I wouldn't have thought, or I suppose unless there's that Soldier to Flowers, could be problematic here. Plays the Dana. Marmo Swarm. That's it.
Wow.
A bit of a fallow turn there.
Yeah, I wonder if the Shadows was considered, but Callum doesn't actually have any amber, so...
Yeah, discards a helper bot. Discards a Ronnie Risk Locks. Gotta be happy about that.
That is a smashing hit.
And Vandalize. Discards a Chota Hazri off the Vandalize. Oh!
And if there's the Soldiers to Flowers floating around, you do not want Chota anywhere in that deck.
You do not. Plays the Mug. Callum generating some serious M here. Plays another Mug.
And more importantly, building that board.
He is indeed, yeah. Yeah, very nice turn from Callum there. Gets 4 Ember. Gets rid of that Chota too. And that's got to be the thing he's really happy about here.
That Chota, he'll relax a lot now that Chota's gone.
Yeah, 100%. And Igor is coming out here, going to look at the top 3
cards. And if he
cards.
hadn't got rid of the Chota, then that Igor would be taking it into hand right now.
And we see an Archimedes and a Seismo Tangler go into the discard. I do have to wonder what's picked up.
Possibly just another helper bot.
And Strange Gizmo comes down.
Strange Gizmo doesn't do anything right now.
Just gets an Mental, yeah. Because before just that 3rd key, everything's destroyed because the game is over and people are picking up their cards and going home. Well, not going home. There's another game after this.
But it's out the deck for the shuffle, so
that's true.
You're more likely to hit the better stuff, and it gets you an amber. So why not put it down?
Exactly. Is he gonna have anything else here? Can play the help bot. Oof, what do we have from that? Doesn't play anything off the help bot. That is interesting.
Gotta be trying to hold stuff in hand.
Oh, yeah, but he's gonna go dis here. Use the quick so the adventurer gonna fight.
Yeah, always an easy choice. Baubbling into a quick so. When do you not want to draw a card? Another Infernus. Are we going to see the Chota get disappeared?
I think that there's a strong chance of that. I think maybe a Chota and maybe a Life for a Life as well. Yeah, just wants to keep his board going. Yeah, I think Callum definitely stabilizing
for Callum now. If Callum can get into check here.
Yeah. He's going to reap with the Subtle Otto.
You've got to assume this is ending in check for key 2.
Plays the 3rd Dominated Bauble, uses the History Cog. Oh, captures an Ember on the History Cog, I do apologise. Oh, and captures the Ember to destroy the Marmo Swarm. Very nice there. Obviously, the Marmo Swarm had 2 damage on it.
I did wonder how that died for a second
there. And then Gleeful Mayhem, wants to get that Infernus back into the discard before the shuffle.
And the Igor and the Otto. Those are 3 nice things to be shuffling back into your deck when you draw cards in a second.
Yeah, reaps with the Bonesaw. So we're going to see Untamed.
Okay, Untamed Archives. There's no Chota.
No, going to discard the Pathfinder. I think maybe, just going to go for
Soldiers to Flowers.
Big Soldiers to Flowers. Huge Soldiers to Flowers. Get 7 Ember.
What has Callum got? Because if Callum can stop the Forge here, I think he can win.
I think so, but does he have anything to stop it, really? I don't know if he does. I mean, we've seen both Infernuses already. One of them's on the board for that matter.
You're right. I think you're right.
I think unfortunately, his goose is cooked.
Yeah, he's going to just double check.
Yeah, it was very sensible. I mean, Mindfire, there's no Dust Pixies, and even then that wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you can just get excessively lucky in this. But no, the History Cog's in play. Mutagenic Serum.
Certainly generate a lot of amber this turn.
Could, yeah. Infomorph to draw a card.
Infomorph does literally nothing except draw.
No way of drawing out of house. It's the only trouble. Playing out of house, even if you can.
Yeah, there's nothing in Logos that can
The
help
capture.
here, right?
I don't think of that. I think no. I think.
Assume.
Yeah, that's it. Very close game though. I
Very
think.
close. Very nice build up of the Soldiers to Flowers.
Yeah.
Nice bit of burst.
I think. Oh, maybe that. I think that's why actually when he played the health bot, he didn't play an additional card.
Yeah.
Not wanting
exactly
to shuffle.
why. Because why would you put it? Because you then risk if Callum doesn't kill it, or if you then don't shuffle for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
In hand with the Soldiers to Flowers, it's just guaranteed amber. I haven't seen the Vandalize on Chota. Yeah. Oh, interesting. That was maybe what the Igor was looking for.
Maybe, yeah. That's interesting. But yeah, good, very good game one.
Very good game. Very good game.
And we'll be going on to game 2 very shortly, as soon as both players are ready. And yeah, just kind of lamenting Soldiers to Flowers being too much burst, as was the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think any card that can generate you 7 Ember is always going to be pretty nice.
Yeah, I've got it. One of the decks I'm considering playing tomorrow in the KFPL event is Soldiers to Flowers, and you often, near the end, it is just a very nice way of just bursting hard for key 3.
Callum confusing his French-speaking opponent by using the phrase "crack on." But yeah, here we go. We'll hunt down the next game that is being set up and bring you the second game of this matchup. Here we go.
I'm always worried to click watch before the second person's in there. There we go. I don't want to accidentally play it.
Yeah, I don't want to play against these decks. They're horrible. Mentol has left the game, so maybe hopefully he'll be rejoining any moment. There he is. So yeah.
So Mentol is now playing Ratcot, correct?
I believe he is, yeah.
And Ratcot could give burst decks a bit of trouble. It depends. If that Keylock comes out early, I think we could see a Ratcot win. I think
so.
that just provides the breathing space Ratcot needs to build.
Has switched to Randolph the Poison Hammer.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think Callum, we've talked about our country before. We're both kind of proponents of switching after a loss, especially. Well, the only time you really could switch would be after a loss, because after a win you'd have to switch. But I think just for me, it's kind of like if you just lost with a deck, you kind of want to like kind of shake out kind of like that losing feeling with a different deck, and then come back to it kind of fresh after a win, or just lose the whole time, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I tend to stick with the deck that just lost because I feel like I'm in the mind frame of playing that deck, even if I lost with it.
Yeah, we can see a Positron Bolt and Igor. Igor is going to discard a Cutthroat Research and a Ghost Hawk. Cutthroat Research don't think will be fussed to see go. Ghost Hawk, I think, will be a little bit more upset about.
I wonder what was kept instead of that Ghost Hawk.
I wonder so, yeah. Babbling Bibliophile, Igor, and Groupthink Tank. If you can get a route with that Babbling Bibliophile, we could be seeing a setup for a very large turn.
Yeah, this could be a nice quick start.
Yeah, but we're going
to prioritize.
Ooh, Inky Gloom's going to stop him from reaping.
That's one way of doing it.
Yeah, that is definitely one way of doing it. And
discards
the Hawk. Doesn't want that golden spiral going away.
Rid of the spiral.
Oops, stealth mode. No actions for Mentol next turn. Placed a Nurse Soto to heal the Babbling Bibliophile.
Yeah, and you got to think if that reaping hadn't been stopped, that we would be seeing Logos.
Yeah, I think so.
There's the Keylock. That is incredibly good news for Mentol.
Yeah, along with an E-Die. So I think we're almost certainly going to see some Logos here. And we are, so drawing 2 cards of that Babbling Bibliophile. May fight into the E-Die with the Groupthink Tank just to get off the board. I'd be very tempted to.
I would think that you've got another chance to do that.
Goes for the reap.
Just draw cards right now.
I suppose if he's only going at 5 with it, maybe just thinking, well, it's academic, really. I'm not going to forge either way, and probably has plenty of ways in the deck of just knocking that E-Die off the board whenever he wants to forge. We're going to see Saurian.
Because you've got to think about that too much to protect. You've got to go to 10 to forge at the moment, and 9 once the E-Die has died.
Yeah, I've got to think the key charge is going to be very significant.
When no one wants to...
Oof, Axiom Grisk, though, clears the board.
no one wants to actually go up to 9 and forge for that extra 3.
They do not, no. Let's see, Odoak coming on down.
Is that a problem? I don't think there's much stealing.
I don't think there is, but we are going to see wards on the Edai and the Odoak.
Yeah, stretching out this game,
Quicksand.
as we were talking about, it's not what the Hammer wants, and it is what Mentol wants.
Definitely is.
This
is
definitely the start that Mentol wanted.
I'm going to see Wild
and
Spirit.
Calum having to burst if the TMTP comes down now.
Okay, interesting here. Seen the Fog Bank stopping the fighting and has gone to check now with that Imprinted Mook. Is Mentol going to let him forge? Is he going to use something to knock him off check?
We could see Calum, we could see Edai.
Could. But maybe he's thinking lets him forge for 9. I don't know. We are going to see Saurian. Reach the Odoak. Plays the Pterodactyl.
Could see Tribute about to happen here.
Could Phalanx Strike. Oh, takes out the Mamook to knock him off check that way.
Yeah.
And he's also going to take out that Ghost Hawk too.
Why not? Exhaust the Edai, but it doesn't really matter.
And he gets another Reap in as well with the Golden Spiral.
Just daring Calum to go too high.
I too like to live dangerously.
And the longer the game goes on and the longer Calum stays that high, the more we have to think that the TMTP is on its way.
Yeah, I mean, the Zap, though, are going to be used to take out those wards. He's just whacking down that Starlight board. Sadly, nothing to play there with the Comoffs of Kirby.
Yeah, it's always a shame when that has to happen.
Most definitely. We only see Logos as the house.
Could see another Edai just to keep this burst, this high risk play from Calum going a bit longer.
Yeah, we definitely could.
I would be surprised if we didn't, because you've got to have picked Logos for a reason there, right?
Yeah. But this deck not the fastest here, and with 17 cards still left in the deck, it could just be that he's not got a way to stop him, and he's maybe just wanted to play Logos to kind of get the set up, and that is the case. There we go. Calum gonna force for 10.
Too unhappy with making your opponent pay 10 for a key.
You really can't, no. And especially when you're on 9 afterwards, you can get that force yourself.
You know what I
mean. But Calum freeing himself up a bit here though, and can kind of now put the Jets on. And we're hopefully going to see him, but not a great turn there. Just Logos being played.
Just clearing stuff out the hand, I think. There.
I think so. Yeah, maybe setting up for like a big Untamed turn, maybe for a big Star Alliance turn. But I've got to think Untamed more likely.
Gets to forge for 6. Nice cheap key.
He does, yeah. Key economy has gone wild. I remember back in my day, in the Dakota days, you'd pay 6 for a key and you'd like it.
Who would you say is doing better at the moment? It's hard to.
I mean, I would unfortunately say I think Mentol is probably in the driving seat at the moment.
I feel like the game is going more the way that Mentol would have wanted it to go.
Yeah, I mean, we said before, we said in the deck chat with this that unless Calum's winning in the first kind of like 7 or 8 turns, he's always going to struggle. And we are at turn 7 and he's on 1 key.
0 Amber.
Yeah, and we've kind of seen a lot of the tricks coming out of the deck too. We see Kirby's Blaster here.
That's nice. Always nice.
Yeah, it can definitely be useful. Maybe to take out something. He's gonna gain 2 Ember with Dr. Driscoll healing 2 damage.
Very nice.
I think maybe gonna place Light of the Archons too, so could maybe fight something here. Can't really think.
Not many good options for fighting.
No, just gonna Reap instead though. I think maybe gonna use that Blaster.
Take a ward off, do you reckon?
Take the ward off Edai. Very nice.
Edai.
What? And Natural Selection. Ooh, that's huge.
That's why we were a bit bored. So he's going to say goodbye to Igor, you'd have thought?
Yeah, I think Igor would be the one I'd get rid of. And then...
Yeah, then how's the card draw with the
Titan Guardian? I suppose doesn't want to have that ward knocking around, though, maybe. And Key Charge here. Calum gets a second key.
Oh, and suddenly...
This is suddenly a ball game.
This is looking like a very different game.
It really is, yeah. And this is what we've always said about the Hammer. It's got that burst. It's got these tricks. It's got this stuff that just suddenly out of nowhere, you get a key. And he's also got that Key Charge into the discard before the shuffle, too.
Yep, so it's threatening to come around again.
Exceptionally threatening, yeah. And Shadows
Kirby's on the board is just such a nice place to be.
Yeah.
Okay, one of them's getting purged now, though, so don't worry about
one of the Kirby's. I mean, I think the thing with this is as well that's really significant is that by forging that key, Tribute no longer important. TMTP no longer important.
Yeah. Brand on the board could be a good time to kill it.
It really could be only one ember in the pool. You never, and it's still going to be stolen, but there are definitely worse times to be killing a brand. You are correct. Information Officer Grey, going to archive something, a wormhole technician.
Just keeps the deck moving.
Definitely
not
does.
like the most amazing target for an archive, but just keeps the draw happening next turn.
Fights the Odoak. He gets 2 Ember off of that, so clearly not planning on killing that Bren the Fanatic anytime soon. I mean, we have said as well, Mentol not got great ways of killing the Bren.
And the Felling Strike is in the discard.
Yeah.
I can't remember. The Entropic Swirl was maybe the only other way of doing it.
Yeah, other than obviously Axiom of Grisk, which kind of kills everything. But yeah, Callum is going to get Nature's Call here, so I've got to think that Bren the Fanatic is going back home.
Back in hand. There's nothing I enjoy more than sending a Bren back to hand. Yeah.
I'm going to play...
Check for key 3, and it was not looking great for Callum very recently, but all of a sudden...
Yeah.
He's looking almost like he
plays the Fog
can't be taken off. I mean, there's a lot of Ronnies out there, so...
Yeah.
We haven't seen the tribute yet.
We've not.
So there's still plenty of ways for Mentol to keep himself in this game.
There definitely is, but even if he does take that turn without being able to fight anything, you've got to think Callum then just has the board here to just put himself on the check once again. And this may be, I think this is definitely going Callum's way here. Mentol with the GG. Concedes.
Wow. Yeah, okay. Didn't have the tribute, didn't have...
No.
Ronnies even, maybe.
Yeah, and I suppose Ronnie, you would need 2 Ronnies, though, because he's on 8, so...
Yeah, just didn't have it.
No. But, yeah, excellent game there from Callum. It looks a bit dicey towards the middle, but just kind of powered out towards the end and managed to take the second game.
So switching decks, obviously the right move there.
Yeah, exactly. Switches for life. And yeah, so let's, as soon as the third game is up and running, we'll watch the decider.
Another decider. Spoiled this evening.
Yeah, you love to see it though. Really ratchets up the tension. And we have a call from Muffins there. Hammer time, and it is indeed hammer time. Hang on, let's try and click watch, but I didn't put in the password. Very clever. And clearly the brains of the operation. Is it KFPL or has it been... Did he put it lowercase maybe? It was lowercase. The rogue.
Did that on purpose to make you look stupid, I reckon.
He did, I bet he did. Oh, this scoundrel. But yeah, so we are going to see Agent of Ratcart again. And we're going to see Callum been playing Logan the Dubious.
Ooh, this is tough to call. I would have to give it to Logan, I think, but I have bet against Mentol before and regretted it.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you've got to look at Agent Ratcart. Still got a lot of like brutal tricks that you can pull off, like that Tribute Exemplar, like the TMTP with the Keylock knocking around. You know, there's a lot of like risky stuff in that deck, and the big problems here is there's a customs office in the Agent of Ratcart too.
Yeah.
If you can get that down early, that just shuts down a lot of Callum's deck with those kind of mutagenic serums just not being able to be played. We obviously the Keylock coming down.
Most importantly, we get another game where we get to talk about Tribute Exemplar and then get to watch it has no impact on who wins.
Yeah. Discards the standardized testing, plays an Adaptor to draw a couple, and put some armor on it, plays a mutagenic serum, and this is good. You want to be getting out these artifacts as early as possible before that customs office comes down.
Once again, just what Mentol wants first. If you're playing Mentol's deck where you're all about pushing the key cost up and punishing the increase, you want to see that Keylock. It gives you the time to find the bits you need to punish the key cost increase.
You do definitely. And you've got to wonder here if maybe Callum's not going to be as kind of laissez-faire with using his artifacts as he may be as well. Knowing customs office is going to be a thing later in the game. You maybe want to kind of hold them a bit more. Just only use them when you very much have to, because you don't want them gumming up your deck later.
Yeah, I agree.
We are going to see.
We'll find out if he's thinking like that.
And takes out that E-die with a damage icon. Going to play a second Mug. And is playing a lasting effect to adapt to it. So I've got to think that he's put a steal on that.
Yeah,
he's going to fight it.
You can't blame him. That's a big turn.
That is a big turn. Unfortunately, though, I don't believe there's any artifact control in Callum's deck. As far as I can see, there's not. So The only way that universal key lock is going away is if someone forges a key.
Hopefully someone will at some point.
I don't know. Well, I mean, yeah, if we go down to 35 minutes with no keys forged, I'll be a monkey's uncle. But we are going to see Saurian Odoac the Patrician is
Very
played
similar
down.
to
Here's the
last
tribute.
game. But this time it's got the tribute.
Are we going to
That is
see
the
it? Oh, we do. Oh, that is.
But he's going to have to pay 9 for the key. But I guess that's a small price to pay when you've just robbed 5 number off your opponent.
Yeah, you have fully robbed him. And Mind Fighter discard the Hologramophone. Happy with that. Good card to get rid of. And just nice steal. Gleeful Mayhem going to hit the Titan Guardian. Take that out. And a Subtle Otto, I imagine he's not going to be too fussed about seeing that go away. Plays a Dominate Bauble down. Let's put damage on the Adaptoid, but he has some armor, so it's all good. Haven't seen the Dark Ember Vault yet, though. Got to be thinking Calum not chuffed he's not seen that earlier.
Very soon.
Yeah, we have something from Kate here saying this game is dependent on when Mentol finds the customs office. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. The customs office puts Calum in a very difficult position.
It really does. But we are seeing the Mutagenic Serum come down. Going to capture one onto Adaptoid.
See some more steel here. So he's going to eventually get back all the Ember that was taken from him.
He is indeed, yeah. Going to fight Breaker Hill, steal one. And he's doing a pretty good job of it too, yeah. And we're going to see damage onto the Simon. I suppose not wanting to return that Adaptoid with the Ember on top of it. Bot Bookton and
we got a board.
And yeah, to be fair, going from 6 Semper, we're taking Mental to 7 to be now down much further to 3, but now 5.
The sooner Mental can get that Adaptoid off the board, the better for him. As long as that Adaptoid is there, Calum is just going to keep using it. We're seeing more artifacts come down before customs office, which is all good news for.
Yep, and also a lot of
just the damage he needs to find.
Yeah, and a lot of elusive creatures as well, which are really good to fight with the Adaptoid because it means you can just keep putting this steel on it, and you don't have to worry about it taking damage when you fight something. So I've got to think we're going to see the Adaptoid fight into this Breaker Hill, steal a couple.
Yeah, Calum is in huge control now of this game.
He really is, yeah. Maybe see the Infamorph fight the Breaker Hill. Dance of Doom just hits the Breaker Hill with the 1. Doesn't even need to fight.
That is lovely.
Yeah. Maybe we'd want that a little bit later when there's more things on the board, but when you've got such a commanding position as Calum has, can't be too upset about it. Here's the Shadows. I mean, he's going to see the Trust No One steal 2.
And it was either play it then or draw it, and I think you'd rather play it then than draw it.
Ronnie Rislock going to steal another one. Brend the Fanatic going to give one. And here you go. Hear what's Calum going to do here.
Brend is tough. Yeah, that Brend is tough to deal with.
It really is, yeah. Still haven't seen the customs office from Mentol.
Just try and load up the Adaptoid and just steal 3 as you kill it. Like, just try and even it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with the Adaptoid is you'd have to put at least one as giving it armor, because otherwise it would die before it can get the effect of the steel. But Play's can play the master plan, put something underneath it. I wonder what. The mystery.
We'll never know.
Oh, here's a Vandalize. What is he going to hit here?
Oh, Mentol's got to be unhappy that there's no customs office yet.
And he's going to discard a card and rearrange top cue. Inky Gloom. Not the best card, but still pretty nice because stop him from reaping. You've got to think not be too happy about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Second Vandalize. Here we go. What are we going to hit here? And oh wait, no, I think that was all the same Vandalize. It was just a lot of text. We're going to see Mug.
Just a really confusing way, yeah.
Yeah. Mug. What is he going to mug? I would have maybe hit the Adaptoid there just to get the Ember off it. I'd have been tempted.
Yeah, I see that. Good choice.
And are we going to see Mutagenic Serum here just to hit the Reap with 4 Logos groups? I've got to think we do, and we do see that there, yeah. I'm just going to Reap. Oh, kills the Brend, lets the steal happen.
Yeah.
I suppose it's as good a time as any, really.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen at some point.
Plays the Tempting Offer, though, which I would have thought you would have wanted to use to, I suppose, wanted that steal from the Adaptoid.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to fight with the Adaptoid after doing the Tempted Offer, but yeah, think I'd have been tempted
A
to
bot booked in there
do.
reaps to play a second tempting offer.
Wow, that's not ideal.
I suppose not, but it's the kind of thing where you don't give your opponent an ember for
Yeah,
returning their
it's not
creature.
terrible, I guess.
So it's a bit
Bot
of a.
booked in is really pulling out the soft creature control,
Yeah.
or just the creature control on
It
the
really
reaps.
is, yeah. And we see the golden spiral coming down here. Ret Gallim increasing the key cost. Oh, no. And going to ward the Ret Gallim here.
And Mentol almost has to be holding too much to protect right now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's only got, what, 6 cards left. And it puts Callum in a difficult position.
Not guaranteed, but Callum has got to ride this out.
Mm-hmm. But I've got to think, like, strong board position here. We haven't seen either Axiom, though, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd do here, actually. It's tough. You don't want to burst too much because you'll give the game away if that TMTP is in hand. But also, you don't want to not use a board when you've got it.
I think there's just got to be some fighting you do here. So say like use a Munchling and a Quixo to destroy the Tricerian. We don't see shadows though.
You certainly want to try and get rid of Gallim if you can, because you don't want to be put in the same position next turn where you haven't forged and you've got even more amber.
So you're going to play the tempting offer and return Tricerian Legionary. Adaptoid. It's going to be
okay. Yeah, it's been popped. I think Callum is maybe going all in here.
Possibly. Plays Mutant Cutpurse, best card in the game.
Are we going to see a full-on burst? I mean, Callum could go up to like
plays the finishing blow. Just this. He's going to get to steal one.
Oh, he's going to let
forge.
The key lock go.
Yeah. It's just whether Mentol has that team TP.
If he has it, goes into shadows, then we know exactly what's happening.
Yeah,
it's about 50-50, but it's also
thinking though.
Probably.
He's thinking.
I mean, there's no way you'd think about it if you had the option of taking.
He's going for shadows.
Going shadows, cards in archive.
Yeah, I've got to think the too much to protect is coming down the trap.
At least a couple of Ronnies, surely.
Yeah, customs office as well.
This could be the. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Oh, no.
I think that might be enough.
Chimera Eclipse. You hate to see it. You really do. I mean, I guess it's at some point you just have to go. If he has it, he has it. You can't.
It's exactly what I was talking about when we look at the decks. The threat of too much to protect can sometimes hurt you more than the actual card itself.
Yeah.
And you've just got to go, right, well, if they don't have it, I win. If they have it, I lose.
Roy's the master plan. It had a Dominator Bauble under it, so nothing too crazy. But I've got to think here, this is really bad for Callum. He's going to get a key, though.
See Callum coming back from this, I think.
It's going to be a real struggle. But we see the Infernus, though.
It's interesting.
And you've got to think, Dominator Bauble, you can fight that Gallim with, say, the Munchling or with the Quixo the Adventurer, depending. Too much protection from Universal Keylock, very sensible. Second Infernus, too.
Okay.
Maybe, he's down, but he's not out, I'd say. Mentol only is only going to be forging a second key here.
Yeah. It's not as wild as it looked. And
Purge the Tribute and the Hawk, too.
Yeah, this is nice.
He's going to pay 1 to play that. Due to the customs office.
Worth it, probably, but that's going to become something you can't do in a couple of turns.
Going to put the Soul Keeper on the Subtle Otto. Plays the Bone Saw. I was going to say it like that. It just has to be done. And then discards the Dark Empire on a Dominator Bauble.
Yeah, oof. That is rough.
No, it really is, yeah. Oh, Mutinic Serum was off the bot booked in. There we go. That's why he played it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, probably didn't want to. Wouldn't have chosen to do that, I expect. But
I don't think so, no.
Now it's there. It will do a lot of work at some point.
Yeah, it's interesting to discard the Dark Ember. I maybe even would have been tempted to play that. I
wonder if he hadn't just hit the serum. Maybe he would have.
Yeah, I think it's also the problem is here that we're going to see the Reap the Red Gallim of Goth. We're going to see an Axiom here too. We do.
Oh, brutal. Everything but the but everything but the Infomorph gone, and the Infomorph is not the creature you would choose to keep around out of that lineup.
No, definitely not. And this is
suddenly a big Saurian board is down.
Yeah,
Gold
Guardian
Spiral,
ward that Tricerian Legionary.
I would would have. Oh, it doesn't go for the ward.
Oh, interesting.
I guess just didn't want to exhort again.
Yeah, that's very fair.
And
With
I think it's when you're ahead by that much, why take the risk? I guess.
I'm going to see the mug though hitting the red Callum. Second mug is gonna. Or is it the same mug?
I think.
Oh no,
it's the
took
mug,
it off his
yeah,
own infomorph. Okay.
Oh no, yeah, it was
I maybe would have been tempted just to kill the red Callum though.
Yeah, it's a weird.
Rather than. And Mentol is going
It's a
to.
tough
And there.
choice, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Callum concedes. Clearly didn't have a way to knock him off of at 6.
Yeah, it was unfortunate all about that too much to protect, but I think Callum was in a if he played around it, he would not have done much better, I think.
Oh, Callum.
I don't know if he threw it away.
No, it's hard to know what was in his hand, obviously, and maybe he's missed something. But no, it looked like a pretty close game, to be honest. Like it, I think it just got into a situation where you knew the TMTP was coming at some point, and you couldn't really stop it.
If you don't burst the turn that he bursts, you're risking the key cost being increased again, and you being not just in the same position next time, but an even worse position.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you've just got to risk it sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, I was going to leave the game. Yeah. I think, maybe just, it wasn't really. I suppose maybe, it's one of those difficult ones though where you sometimes just need to go for it. And you sometimes just need to go, you know what, if he has it, he has it. And if I'm not going to win this game by just playing conservatively.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if that was the huge error that Callum thinks it was. I think it's just something that you sometimes have to do.
No, and I think it's difficult because I think in some ways you have to take advantage of the board while you had it because you knew there's 2 axioms and you hadn't seen either of them at various points in the game. So it's hard to it's easy to kind of go, oh, well, I should have known. But I think you just sometimes just have to make your opponent have it. You don't know what they've drawn. You don't know what they've taken. It could be that team to be is in the last 6 cards of the deck. And if it is, this game's completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think we'll leave it there for now. It has been just over 2
Well,
hours.
Mentol.
But yeah, it's excellent games from all 4 players that we've had today.
6 great games.
Indeed, it has. But yeah, we have been Beach Bob-Omb. I have been David Baron von Fabulous Lark.
And I have been Joe Russell Ruffino.
Yep. I think it's been an excellent game, excellent commentary. Really enjoyed talking to people in the chat as well. And I'm sure we'll see you again soon for even more Keyforge when the next rounds come around. Thanks very much and goodbye.